Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our May 6th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting. I don't know if you can tell that it's a little bit empty in here because it is. We are short one councillor today. Unfortunately, Councillor Whip fell ill this afternoon and let us know about 5 o'clock that he wouldn't be joining us tonight. So we're short a councillor, and also CAO Lockwood is joining us by Zoom tonight as he's in Whitehorse for some meetings. So thank you, CAO, for joining us virtually. We have what I would consider a medium length agenda, so we will get right into it. Does anyone have, before we get into it, does anyone have any additions or amendments to the agenda?
None.
No. Seeing and hearing none.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Thank you. I'll second it. Second, Danina, all in favor? Thank you, and I will add, it's not an amendment, but we do have an in-camera item, so I'll be looking for a mover to go on camera when we get there.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So next up, we have the minutes from the April 15th, 2025 regular council meeting. Can I please have a mover and a seconder to adopt those minutes?
Adopt the minutes from the previous meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Danina.
Either
I will second.
Thank you, Councillor. And comments, questions, amendments to the minutes?
No, me.
Okay. Councillor Snyder?
None from me. Thank you.
Okay, not for me either, so I'll call the question. All in favor of passing the minutes? Yeah, aye. Okay, so that'll pass unanimously, thank you. Next up, we have the open payables, and hang on, I don't have that amended amount right in front of me. It's okay. Looking for a motion to pay the open payables in the amount of $377,810.59. And you'll notice on the payables package, or that was in the package, there's one item at the end that was a reprint, so that was why the amount just changed there. So sorry, looking for a mover.
The motion to pay the open payable.
Thank you, Danina, and second by Thomas. And comments, questions, discussion.
63,210.
Can you?
Yeah, so that is the down payment on the playground equipment that council approved as part of the capital budget.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, which one was that? I just didn't quite hear you.
Well, sorry. 63,210.
That's NV Construction.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I would have asked about that as well. Okay, sorry, did you have any others, Danina?
You guys go
I got a
ahead.
question.
Sorry, she's about that.
Sorry.
I think go ahead.
Okay.
Just to move a finance question, the money that we pay Elevator Yukon, that money comes out of the HAF agreement cash that we have, correct?
That is correct.
As part of the implementation of said.
That is correct. Yeah.
I think if that's what they're working on though, because I mean, we've
Oh, yeah.
of course had them for other
Yeah.
projects as
Well, I
well.
was just curious if it was coming out of our own funds or like how that was
Oh.
structured. That's all.
That's part of the administrative costs. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
I guess I would like to inquire about 63224.
63224. That is portable radios that we had. Some of that's through fire department, some of that is through the fire money.
Thank you for that. I think that's it for me. Yeah, everyone, okay, so if there's no, sorry, Norma. No, thank you. So if there's no further discussion around that, I will call the question. All in favor of approving the payables? Okay, so that passes. Thank you. So moving right along, next up we have some correspondence from Prostate Cancer Canada. So I will read this to you, and I actually thought that we had received this before, but I think we're just receiving it again. I think it was last year, and so we're just receiving it again. So
Can I make a motion / statement towards this?
sure, I was just gonna read the little thing first, it's short, so it just says, good afternoon, September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and Prostate Cancer Foundation Canada is asking landmarks across Canada to light up in blue for one day, 1 week, or all month to raise awareness for the #1 cancer in men. In 2023, we had over 130 locations light up, and we are hoping to get 175 this year. We would love your support for the 2024, which I think is, what should be 2025? Oh, you know what it is, I'm reading the original one, and then they resent it and said, can you do this again? Anyways, this is the OG message that we got, we did get this in 2024. But, anyway, we love your support for 2025 with lighting up in blue. A blue light bulb is all it takes. Prostate cancer is the #1 diagnosed cancer in Canadian men. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed. Thank you so much for your help. And then it says, we would love if Watson Lake would paint the town blue again with us for Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in September. Last year, we had over 200 landmarks and over 300 homes light up to raise awareness for the #1 cancer in Canadian men. Please let us know. So, yeah, sorry about that. It's email thread. Anyway, sorry.
My motion is this, I'd like to get a couple of strings of blue lights, put them on Pilot Cabin, take a picture of said building lit up with blue lights in September, and get it back to them, scan it, send it back to them, let them know that we contributed. And it might even show up on some sort of with a signpost for us perhaps, but somewhere get a string of blue lights to show our support and take a picture and send it back to them so that they can use it, and their advertising, or you know, it's a neat Yukon perspective of it, and it might give us some free publicity. So
I support it.
that's my motion.
Okay,
Just string of lights and a picture.
Normal second that. All in favor? That passes unanimously. And hopefully Evan can help us with that. Okay, perfect. Thank you, everyone. So next I will ask CAO Lockwood for the CAO report, please. And he, as mentioned earlier, is joining us virtually. So over to you.
Excuse me, I'm having computer issues.
Just you're talking, but we can't see you. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'm here in my dark hotel room. So, yeah, so as everybody knows, Norcope is back in town, working on the completion of the in-ground infrastructure phase 1A. They're aiming to be done by the end of May. I think that's a little wishful. I think maybe by mid-June they will be done. We're dealing with a few issues. We had currently dealing with water line freeze up at the Dragon's Den Hotel. So I was on the phone with that for over an hour this afternoon, trying to get them figuring that out. We'll have more information tomorrow on that one. Still no updates on our GICB or our CHIF funding. Both of those are still sitting in Ottawa. I'm hoping now that the election is over, that there will be some headway. I was told that there was some applications that have been approved that are sitting there waiting for sign off. So I'm hopeful that one of them is ours. Then we can move forward on that. The other thing that's going ahead and will be starting the beginning of July is the COVID HVAC system upgrades. So that's the rec center. That's all the air handlers, fans, zone valves, unit heater, all kinds of wonderful stuff going on at the rec center. As you know, most of that equipment is 25 years older, and it's past its life expectancy, and we're having trouble getting parts for it. As part of that, it'll add a building operating system, so we'll be able to actually control each area by computer. So everything can be preset. We can monitor it up and down instead of having these hotspots that's flushing all our lines, and it'll get rid of all those issues where low heat in some parts of the building and moving forward. And then the other part of that project is the movement and replacement of 4 unit heaters at the Northern Lights Center. That work is scheduled to be completed mid-October, after the Visitor Center and Northern Lights Center close for the season. So that way there's no interruptions there. And then the other part of the project is the replacement of the air handlers in the admin building. That was part of the work that wasn't done on our building retrofit, whenever that was. I hate to say it, but probably 5 years ago now. So that work will take place over the summer, which will be really nice to have that done and have a modern system in those buildings. So that's moving forward. We're still doing scoping projects on a bunch of other work. So a new water supply well for the community. We're working with YG on that project to get that done. We're having issues. I think you may remember we've been having issues with the aprons or the concrete slabs on the outside of the new municipal services building. They've decided that they want to go up and down at their own will, sometimes blocking doors. So we're working with YG. They're going to put it out for tender to replace all those slabs. That's all on YG. It has nothing to do with the municipality, but it's going to be a big project. So that's going to be coming up. The other thing that's going to be coming out in the next month is the BST tender for Francis Avenue and all of the phase 1A areas that were dug up. So Tintina, Stikine, Frank, Adela, and patching of and Francis as part of that other project. And then some of those roads that got beat up or areas that got beat up with the trucks hauling to do the Francis Avenue extension. So that's all coming forward. The other, what else do we got to go on the go? We just finished all our hearing testing for the all our town employees to bring us up to WCB standards. We're working our way through an order that was written by WCB on the fire department. That was part of a full review that WCB decided to do on all fire departments in the territory. And I think it has lots to do with concerns being brought forward by the Yukon Association of Firefighters or Yukon, whatever. They have a new thing. They were the chiefs, but they changed it now. They're all inclusive now. It's not just the chiefs, it's all firefighters in the territory.
Okay.
So anyways, so ours we ended up with 7 orders. A lot of them are very easy. Some of them were a little more in depth, and we're still working towards them. And one I've spoken to your worship about, where we now have to have medicals for 24 firefighters. So it's not just an easy undertaking. So it's going to take some coordination, and it's going to unfortunately cost us some money, but it is a order by Occupational Health and Safety, so we must comply with it. Part of that was the hearing tests. The other part was the self-contained breathing apparatuses and communications in the fire trucks. And a lot of it was very easy for us to deal with. Some of it, unfortunately, we had to throw some money at it, but we're hopefully cash managing that internally. I'm not coming back to council for another budget request or modification. So we're gonna let that float through and see where we end up. We're currently almost full in all our positions. I think interviews were done for all our summer positions now. Northern Lights Center opened May 1st, along with the Visitors Information Center in that building. So they're moving ahead. That's moving ahead. I encourage any one of you or the public to get over and actually take a look at the building and how it's set up. I think it's going to be a real nice thing for the municipality. Some of the signage stuff we're still working with tourism on, trying to get better signage to get people in there. The current signs that are there are ones that were relocated from over on the other different locations in town, but I think it can still be improved. So Shannon's working with them on that. And I think the only other position that we haven't staffed is so far, but it's advertised, is the summer position at the recycling center landfill. Our new maintenance person started last week, and we're fully staffed at rec center now. So we have no current vacant. Well, shouldn't say that. We're dealing with one long-term disability vacancy at Public Works, which council is well aware of. And so those things are proceeding. We're dealing with still trying to get the water license through. I was in receipt of correspondence from the water board yesterday, and myself and our consultants have been going back and forth on trying to get a reply to them to try and get that sorted out. And the other thing we haven't got yet is our new landfill operating permit yet either. It's all held up at YG, and I'm not sure what the issues are, but we're still operating under our old license. So those things are moving ahead. Yeah, other than that, as council knows, we've been busy with AYC and a whole bunch of other stuff that's been on the go. So not so much stuff that's out that's really shiny and bells and whistles out in the public that really gets people excited. But I encourage people to take part in the yard cleanup, which starts on the 15th of May and runs till the end of June. So that's one free load per property. And then the other thing that was, I think, a really good success on the weekend was the Fire Smart Barbecue at the rec center. It was held in conjunction with the community garage sale, and our crew, along with Wildlands, set up some of the structural protection equipment to do a demonstration of it at the same time. And yeah, other than that, recreation is that building is really busy, and if you haven't been in there for a while, I encourage you to go there as well, because there's all kinds of bright posters and lots of events that are coming up. And yeah, as you've probably seen on Facebook and Instagram, Austria, as the new rec programmer, is really hitting it out of the park with events and advertising and working with joint projects. So that's good. And I don't know if and mayor and council and my senior staff are all in emergency management training this week. So part of that is incident command structure training for the 200 level for mayor and deputy mayor, along with all my senior management. And then it'll wrap up on Friday, and I'll be back for it. And that's the tabletop emergency exercise, where it'll be a mock emergency in the community, where everybody's got to put their newly learned skills to the test, which is pretty exciting because, as you all know, it's a really dry spring already. A lot of areas have had bad fires. Grand Prairie was just under evacuation notice. A bunch of places in Manitoba, including my in-laws, were evacuated in Manitoba. They're just going to go home now. So yeah, it's just a real timely event to get that training under our belt and be as prepared as we can for the event. LFN has been working with us. Our director of protective services has been out at training it with LFN and their emergency plan. They've been engaged with ours. It's really good. And then the other thing I'm sure your worship will speak about, but was your meeting on Friday. So I'll leave it there unless anybody has questions for me.
Thank you, CAO. Thank you for that very thorough report. Lots going on. Does anyone have any questions for Cam right now? Okay, it looks like there's none right now, but if we have any,
I will be here waiting.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on, that now brings us to the Q1 departmental reports. Hopefully you've all had a chance to review them. I'm hoping that rather than, sorry, I'm not hoping, I am not going to read them all aloud. But I am going to ask if any councilors have any specific questions or comments on the reports that they'd like to share. I don't think I do on
It kind of ties in with everything. So I did some number crunching, and if you just take the total weight divided by the revenue, and it works out to be about $8 a kilogram.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
The landfill
Okay,
report, the
thanks.
quarterly department report. So I was looking at, it works out to be about $8 per kilogram that you're taking in, but then there's also, once you factor in the $20 per month for residences, like, so that money also, like, I don't know if it gets tagged as like landfill money, so if it as their income or not. And so when we're looking at the final, like, we're looking at revenue versus like the budgets, basically. Do we take that money from the, I'll call it the garbage tax, the $240 a month, or 240 a year on all the residencies. Do we add that to the revenue from the landfill, or do we keep that as admin money?
That falls under, that currently falls under admin. We haven't separated it out. Oh, sorry. Yes, it does. There is I wish I had, the budget variance sheet to show you, but there is a line where it shows about, I think, I can't remember the exact dollar amount, but there is a budget line on revenue in landfill for the residential pickup.
That was just a
Okay.
curiosity.
I had a question about landfill as well, but it's kind of mentioned in here, but the public waste drop off, system is not operating yet?
Correct,
that-
that's correct. Yeah. And-
Oh, okay,
Yeah, and the reason why is that we're still, council just approved the budget to get the new cameras and intercom system set up. And we're chasing that under our current procurement policy. So I think we have the quotes now. So it's just a matter of getting the preferred or I hate to say it, but the cheapest service provider down to install that stuff. And the other thing is Stantec is finishing educational information that'll be put out as a mailer to all community members, and then we'll have signage as well that'll be going up. So it's my full intention that will be up and running by the beginning of July at the latest. And part of the issue with that delay too was the fact that we just staffed that landfill position as well. So we needed to get the landfill attendant up to speed on garbage pickup, landfill operations, and how to run and operate the landfill properly before we threw the public waste drop-off site into their mix as well.
thank you for that. And then, so once we approve these reports, these go on the website, do they not? For
Yes.
handles?
Yeah.
So, if there is no further discussion on the departmental reports, then I'll ask for.
Oh, there's a,
Oh, sorry, do you have more?
yeah, that was just landfill, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry, please go ahead.
With Public Works, we were mentioning in part of the statistics part, where the dump truck incident, which happened just by my house. And that has affected a couple other places in town, and I know we were saying like, people should go through their own insurance first, but if you have a $2,000 deductible on your insurance. And to go through your insurance, and it only costs you like $1,500 a year, you know.
That's something that your insurance company would go after the town on and probably not claim the deductible.
So who wouldn't claim that, like, but how are they gonna, you know what I mean, like?
Are your insurance,
Cause it's our,
Yeah.
whoops.
People-
Well, even their deductible, I don't feel that, people up there should have to pay their own deductible to go through their own insurance. And then have to come after us later. I think whatever it is, the issue is they should just pay it to the town and.
well,
we
that
should
goes,
tally up the damage done and make it right.
unfortunately, our insurance company won't address claims that way. And if we start doing that, then they'll probably not honor our insurance on some of that other stuff, right? So
What do I need to tell people, Cam?
what's that?
What do I need to tell people?
Well,
Like,
we
just
need
go
them to reach out to their insurance company, and if it's a no fault to theirs, then they shouldn't be, their insurance company shouldn't be charging them the deductible. It would be charged to us. It would be charged to our insurance company, not to them personally.
Okay, when I go back and talk to them, I'll ask them if that's their,
Yeah,
Issue.
and I can give, and if people reach out to the office, we can provide them with our insurance adjuster's name and phone number, and they can reach out to them directly.
next question I had was bylaw. There's, under the public works there, it says that there's a couple of leaks that we've kind of known about. Which one is the worst one this summer that we're trying to target and fix?
Actually, they're all probably very close. We have a list of, I think when I last seen the list, we have a list of 6 or 7 locations of digs that we're going to be doing coming up. Some aren't water, some are sewer. So yeah, so there's a variety of digs coming up. our water consumption or distribution amount right now is probably the lowest it's been in years. So I think any leaks that we do have to dig, or any of the digs we do have to do, they're on the minor end of them. And our biggest concern right now is what's going to transpire on Morley Crescent, where it's frozen. And we're in talks with YG on that, and odds are Norcope is probably going to do that work because we have some extra money in phase 1A that we can move over to do those minor, well, they're major digs for us, but minor digs in the grand scheme of things under that project.
So, yeah, I was also noticing that we went from 600 cubic meters down to about 500 cubic meters, so that is good. And if we're not leaking, then it's even better because the less water we have to produce, the more we save.
That's correct. We're down about 1,000 cubic liters a day compared to where we were peaked out there last year.
Thank you. That's all for me.
On all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, these will be posted to the website, so if anybody wants to have a look at them, they will be there. So now lost in place, I guess I still need to move her in a second to accept the departmental reports.
Make a motion to accept the departmental reports as presented.
Thank you.
So I'll second that.
Second, okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, that carries, thank you. Okay, so now the moment you've been waiting for. We have 2 bylaws to review. But we'll start with the fees and charges bylaw 2025-04. So this bylaw has only had first reading, and this is the first time we're discussing it at council this year. So as you know, council has committed to reviewing the bylaw annually to make sure that it stays current and serving the needs of the municipality. So I'll start by reading the admin report, which was updated on April 10th. Actually, because I don't think I read that to you at the last time. Or it was just one thing added, so you're really not, what was the thing added, you know? We can also just go through the, yeah. Oh, so there was, I probably did read this at the last meeting because it was April 15th. But the one addition added since then was new addition for staff overtime for after hours cemetery interment requests. It states that the cemetery it states in the cemetery bylaw that overtime is charged, but no rate has been set. So maybe we can go through the appendix, which was 7A. And we can just go through all of the things that are highlighted in yellow, which are the changes.
So have they been changed already, or we're looking to change them?
I read this as the changes that have been entered.
Yeah, because the business license used to be $100 now and it says 125.
So just to clarify, where it's just highlighting the name of it,
Okay,
those are just ones that you guys said we should look at.
Okay.
Where the actual price is highlighted, we've updated.
okay.
Okay.
And so, given the fact that, oh, I see, like these things here. So on the ones where just the name is highlighted, those things have been reviewed and basically no change was deemed to be necessary.
No, but at the past meeting, a couple of the counselors mentioned, like, should we look at our cemetery rates again? Should we look at some of these rates? So we've added territorial comparables to the package, just to give you guys an idea of what everyone else is charging, and then you can determine if
It's really difficult.
I feel. Sorry, I got my head first. Yeah. You want to speak? I'll let you.
Go ahead.
I feel that with the cemetery stuff, I know we're a little bit less than some other places, but I also feel you've been paying taxes your whole life. And just to get really dinged when you die too, it's just a real kick in the pants. And I'm okay with having them where they are. People that are buried in our cemetery are long-term residents and they've been here and they've been part of the community, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like when you're dealing with the death of the family, the last thing we should really do is like throw extra financial strain on top of that. And I think we could eat a couple $100 And it wouldn't hurt us in the long run, but it makes a difference to other people.
Speaking of cemetery, is this, is this the first time that these have been entered here since we passed that bylaw last year? Or,
These haven't changed in several years, I have to look back.
so the fees didn't change with the bylaw rewrite?
I believe the fees have been that same fee as long as I've been working for the town.
Well, sometimes that's okay to fight inflation and keep it the same.
Well, I know one of the reasons why some people have suggested that taxes don't go up very high is because we would look at the fees and bylaws and increase those, because that way, people that are actually using the service are the ones that are being charged for the service. So I think that's why some people wanted to keep taxes low at 1%. So when we look at this, I think we need to look at that in that sort of lens, because
Sorry, can you explain that again? I just what you
some
saying.
people, when we were looking at increasing taxes, right? Some of the rationale for people suggesting that we don't go higher than 1% is because we would look at fees and bylaws, and we would look at
Fees and
increasing
charges.
fees and charges, sorry,
To kind of
and
make up for
increase the amounts for the people that are actually using the services. So I'm just saying, when we look at this, I think we need to look at that in that lens,
Yeah.
because that's what some people had suggested, right? Like I was the only one that suggested 1.5%, other people suggested 1%, but that was the reason why some people had that rationale. So I'm
Okay.
just putting that out there.
Thank you. I think my argument for keeping them low, is because, I just think we should.
Affordability.
And also, we haven't had our strat planning session to even talk about where we're going financially for the next 4 years. And for anybody who's, I was gonna mention this later, but we are to have that session, scheduled now, so that's, June 28th, 29th, we will be doing our 4-year strat plan. But, sorry, did you have follow-up?
Yeah, well, 1% tax raise works out to be about $21,000. And recently we've had increase to the CMG. Now, I'm not saying that keeping it at a marginal tax increase is showing the government that yes, we're not totally reliant on you, but we also got a good chunk of change to them, which would work out to be like what, 5.5%.
Which is all we need to charges it back.
You know what I mean? Well, I guess like there are any needs like by showing the government like, look, we're not just taking this money and like stuffing it in
Yeah.
our pockets, but we also had like, we had $500,000 that we put into various reserve funds. We're not exactly throwing money away like we're very prudent with the funds that we have, and we're getting a few more now. I'm saying, I don't know, the cemetery thing really just bugs me, because I think that like, you know, you pay enough taxes when you're alive, you shouldn't get hit with an extra cost when you're dead. That's the only thing. There's some other increases in here, Janina, or Councilor Piquet, I have no issue with just the cemetery one, just it's
I'm not saying specifically the cemetery.
and for cemetery, it
For
was
staying
super
in.
nice and had beautiful grass, it was well manicured all the time, I'd say yes, but
Okay,
it
just, sorry.
we did a whole, we put them in there, they belong.
Yeah,
And
why?
I'm not specifically saying the cemetery one, Thomas, I'm just saying the overall whole
Gotcha.
fees and charges.
I'm speaking
In
specifically to
particular,
cemetery.
because some people have made reference to that in this room, so I'm just saying that.
Yeah,
Do we know that costs or fees that we're charging are covering costs? Are we able to maintain the services with the fees that we're charging? With the O&M?
Cam, do you have any comment on that?
Sorry about that, I was on mute. I can very much tell you that we're losing money on every aspect of where we're charging fees and charges.
And but specifically with the cemetery, we're
Oh,
not.
we're definitely, we're not making money by any means on that.
but we're not a
I
business.
don't think it's all, yeah, it's also not meant
You
to
know,
be.
like, we're not out here to make money, we're,
No, but we're not here to make, we're not even, I guess for clarity, I should have said, we're not breaking even on or doing a cost recovery.
I guess that was kind of my question, are we at least covering costs?
Yeah.
Fees that we charge?
I think it was like 1,200 or 1,400 was the actual cost, but we looked at it once upon its own. And our fee is at $600.
And also just to. Sorry, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but there are a lot of other departments like that as well, recreation, recycling, public works. You know, all these things that we spend a lot of money on that we don't recoup any cost for, but it's just. The service that's.
The cost of doing business in the town to live in, that's what we're
I
living.
guess too, are there not other areas where people can get assistance if they are in need? If they are able to cover costs, and there are other agencies they can go to get
Yes,
some of this
so,
assistance?
Yes, so health and social services covers some, and the rest are through Northern and Indigenous Affairs, which roughly pays, I think, I shouldn't say exactly, but I think it's roughly $1,500.
There are other avenues for people to.
I mean. I need to look at this more closely, like as far as what other municipalities are doing, but I mean, without doing that, I'm leaning towards agreeing with Thomas on this. Just as far as cemetery, but I need to review that a little bit more.
Some of this is really hard to review with other municipalities, only because they name things differently. We have things worded differently, and so when I tried to cross-reference stuff, it just got really confusing and chaotic and frustrating, because it's just, they're not all, it's not like we call everything and it's all straightforward, it's.
Well, yeah, every place is different.
Yeah, it's a whole different, so it is really tricky, I have to say.
Okay, so let's just put that to the side for now. This is by no means the last time we're gonna talk about this, so,
Yeah,
we're just
It would be nice to see that we're actually I would like to see that we're actually covering the cost, like I understand, Thomas, you don't wanna we shouldn't be making money off it, is what you feel.
yeah,
But I do feel like if we actually cover the cost of what it costs.
if that was the case, then our swing pass would be like $30 to go each time,
Absolutely,
but like,
I know, and I understand that, but I'm just saying some things, like it would be nice if we had actually covering the cost, you know? Anyway, okay, go ahead.
yeah.
okay, so. The next thing that's highlighted for potential review is solid waste.
And opportunity too.
Sorry, did I say something? Just that I'm just going in the appendix, appendix A, sorry, I'm going by the appendix just because all this is highlighted in there. So the first section was cemetery that was highlighted for things that we should look at.
Business license.
Oh, sorry, did I skip
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
So business license,
Yeah.
which I believe we reviewed all that last year. But again, it's just to make sure that we're still kind of current.
If I could comment, we're also reviewing the business license bylaws, so
Oh, yeah.
if things changed in that bylaw, that could affect this one.
Yeah, so we could also just put that on ice for now. And I have a note to mention this summer, but we will be discussing the business license bylaw. I believe the committee of the whole meeting in June is when that'll be coming forward for discussion. So, and I might be wrong on that, Cam, did we say first reading?
First
In
next
May,
meeting.
whatever. Yeah, and then.
First reading next meeting, and then it goes to the committee of the whole in June, and then come back to the last meeting in June as well.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry, we talked about a lot of things and I didn't have my note or my book with me at that time. Okay, so business license bylaw, again, was renewed recently, but we'll just put it on ice until we review the bylaw and just see where we're at. So now we're back to cemetery. We just had a conversation on that, so we will again just think that over. Solid waste. Any comment from admin on this? I mean, I have very
Those fees,
activities that happen.
those fees are in line with the other communities.
And our landfill department is one department that actually makes money,
So we've been hearing like a lot about fees that were increased for the other regional landfills. Are we in, like, we're in line with all of them? Because we were like the
Actually,
OG regional landfill.
yeah, they've actually tried to implement, every other community is trying to actually mimic our fees right now, so.
Oh, okay, so, okay, gotcha. Okay, so now we have some new additions. One is first up is under the water and sewer, which is the back truck. This one just had me going, because I'm wondering why we have a price on that, like, is that so?
I can explain that. Yeah.
Are people,
So that is because of the fact that companies like Norcope and a few others ran into incidents where First Casca's truck was down, KPI's truck were all at Vic Gold. There was no vac trucks available. So to get the work done, we had to come up with a rate, and that is the rate based out of Whitehorse. It's probably more than what NES or First Casca would charge. It's just the rate. We don't want to do the work for people, but if we're stuck or in a position where there's no other alternative, then we are able to have a formulated rate that we can recoup to cover the town's costs.
Can I ask him, how does that affect insurance?
It doesn't affect our insurance because we're doing the work we're doing is on the town infrastructure anyways. We're not doing it on private property.
Oh, okay. And you're using a town employee or they're using?
Yeah, it would, yeah, it's our operators. We will not let anybody else operate our equipment.
thank you. So next is lagoon, and a word I've never seen before. Septage. Is that a word? I thought it was sewage. Anyway,
It's related.
It's both.
fine, okay. Okay, so lagoon and septage. Commercial dumping, so that's been added. I assume that's in there because we have a need for it. I don't have any comment on that really. Anybody else?
So, just in the report, it just explains that on our lagoon forms, we've always charged that. They signed an agreement, but it's not anywhere in the fees and charges.
Yes, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to revert back to this. So yeah, it says lagoon and septic fees. These fees are not new, but were missed being added during the last several bylaw reviews. So these fees are listed on the application form for a lagoon account setup. So thank you for that. So yeah, that's a housekeeping thing.
And then, your worship, it's something that I maybe missed and maybe miscommunicated with Tiffany when she was working on it. But I believe that the large chlorine drums were $50 and the small chlorine drums were $30. So that is something, because our core charge on the large drums are $50 that we eat. So I can't see us trying to sell them for $65 when people can buy the same drum for $50 from other people.
Oh, so you're just saying we need a little amendment here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those amounts will decrease then.
Yeah, so it would be 50 for the large and I would do 30 for the small. And once all the small ones are sold, we won't have them anymore. We strictly will have the large drums.
What size are the small ones?
Small one or something like a 20-gallon.
Oh, okay, I thought they were talking about the small one being the 45-gallon.
No, that's the large drum is the 45.
So I think where
Or
the confusion came
200
in
liter.
is, when I was talking to Stan,
Yeah.
he said the deposit that you get back for taking the small one in would be $50.
No, because we haven't bought the small ones. It's the large ones.
Okay.
In the whole time Stan's worked for the town, we've never had small drums. Those are
Okay.
left over from previous.
Can you put in there the volume that they are? Sure. Like you just talked about that campaign, I just wondered if that might.
Yeah, they're the standard blue drum. They're about 200 liters for the big ones.
Okay. Okay, so thank you for that. So next up, we're getting into rentals, facility rentals. Doesn't look like anything's changed here or proposed to change, but there was an addition of community hall, just the bar. So a person, or a group or individual or whatever can now rent the bar only. So that's entered there. And then moving on to the ski chalet. Similarly, they've added the option to rent the ski chalet kitchen only. Although,
Just wondered about that too.
Yeah.
$50 per hour and then $75 per hour.
well, sorry, that would be day. That's a
Per day,
typo.
that's what I thought.
Oh,
Yeah,
per day,
thank you.
okay. So, change that one, awesome. Okay, so, I have no issue with that. And And then, so next up is, under the nonprofit facility rentals, the toddler room for a private function, so, and then the, deposit on kitchen supplies,
Yeah, that's a huge one, your worship. We've been just hemorrhaging money on kitchen supplies, so that having the deposit, which is refundable on the return and count of everything, is a huge thing because we're losing money as at an astronomical rate on replacing everything.
Thank you.
And now everything is done over there in totes for, I think, size like 25 person sets. So that way, it's easier to account for, so.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on this, for anyone? Or anything we?
I'm curious about so what would be rent long term? So.
Yeah, so that is, so that it would be like places like where Ina does her nails, or the family center has the room rented, those type of scenarios.
So I
Or the
guess
Yeah,
the
or
only
the
thing that-
kitchen.
the only thing that's confusing there is that it's under the nonprofit, section.
Yeah, so so part of that's nonprofit, right? So that would be that would be for the children's group, or what do you call,
Oh, okay, so there's one, sorry, up here then as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
My one's being highlighted, but it should be in both. Okay,
yeah.
okay, thank you. Um. So next we have a whole page of stuff that's.
It was like, oh, he's not yellow.
Yeah, sorry, I keep skipping over it somehow. So, and this is for passes and the new golf simulator and some drop-in details. So maybe you guys could just review that quickly and, see if you ever need to shoot there, and I'll find the note on that. So, the rates have not changed on punch passes and gym shower only passes. However, we have added a new option for full monthly passes, which will allow the user to access all available drop-in programs. They've also added a section in the bylaw to better define what is included in each age group's pass. And there are new rates for our golf simulator, which will be in place after we have space available with the visitor center moving, and then our gym moving back to where it was, and then there'll be a spot for it. So, that's what that whole page is about.
So one thing that the previous rec programmer recommended is that when you get a pass, it's only good for one thing. So if you got a pass for bowling, it's only good for bowling. The new rec manager is not very fond of that system and would rather go back to, you get a punch pass or a pass, it's for bowling, it's for skating, it's for.
I like the new
Not
way of thinking
limiting
about it.
So.
I think I agree with that too, because I guess I don't really understand, the other way, like you would get a bowling pass and a skating pass and that just seems like.
Cutting hairs.
Yeah, no, I like it where you just have a pass and do. But,
Agreed. Okay, and then there is a line here for swimming lessons, which I think is just, as you all know, we finally have enough staff and whatnot to have swimming lessons this year, so that's cool.
I love that too.
And is there a note about that? We've added a set fee for swimming lessons as we now train staff to be able to offer this year, so. Sorry, I just. And then, of course, the pricing on the paddleboard. Let's see here. That says. We have reduced the rates on the paddleboard and disc golf set rentals as they seem high compared to other rental rates, so.
We don't have a hourly or daily.
I think it's, is it weekly, daily?
Well,
Say that.
the disc golf says per day, but the PowerPoint just says kit.
No, yeah. It, does that mean daily?
I would have to verify with, the director of community services on
I
that.
feel like it's per day though, because you're not gonna get a paddleboard for an hour probably.
I'll verify that with.
Yeah.
It could be kit because you need the pump, you need the board, you need, like, there's some stuff you need to go with it, it's not
Yeah.
just.
I can't see he's getting it for an hour.
No, for sure,
Like,
So
is
it's
it per day?
So it's probably per day.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Well, I thought it said paddleboard per kit, doesn't say per hour or day.
It does say kit, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking, so because you have kind of.
That
there's a
makes
whole bunch
sense
of
with-
stuff to, with it.
But it doesn't indicate like the,
How long you get to use
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
And that's a reasonable price.
yeah. And that brings us to the after-hour cemetery interment staff overtime bill backs. Which I think is just a housekeeping thing. And that's it for.
So that's
proposed
just for the
fees.
plot, and then that's what, roughly 3 hours per person, I have to have 2 people there. So it's another $600 in just wages, then $600 for the plot.
No, so there's the plot, which is 600, there's an internment, which is 5, whatever, I can't remember because I can't see it on my computer. And then, yeah, 540, and then this would be for any hours overtime incurred after that 3:30 point for our staff. It's not that often that it happens. We just had a funeral that occurred, and that fee was paid.
So usually we request that, you know, between certain hours based on the public works tax schedule. But sometimes people ask for later in the day, which runs the staff into
Do we
overtime.
ever do Saturday and Sunday? Like, I mean, I think we have done them in the past, but
Not
it's
really,
like,
Unless we're doing 7-day a week staffing, your worship, our staff because we're unionized, our staff has the full right to turn down overtime, and at Public Works, we only have 4 staff members to choose from, and we would need 2 on site on a Saturday or a Sunday, and the odds on us getting that passed through the union is very, very hard.
gotcha. No, I just thought that there wasn't very many overtime opportunities for Public Works now with the new system, then that they might
Yeah.
be willing to do that
They,
to get overtime.
Yeah, usually I'm sure there's times they would agree to that, but the fact is a lot of these fall on long weekends and those type of things when our staff is not willing to do it. So if we open it up, then and our staff say no, then we just have upset people, right?
Yeah. Understood.
okay, any further discussion on this right now? If not, this is gonna go to the May 20th meeting, so they'll implement the changes. And then we'll go to May 20th, 2025 meeting for second reading. And then we'll have a chance to discuss it again. Sound good?
Actually,
Okay, so we will move on.
Will we then have, you guys are looking at business licenses, so we'll have that sorted out before we figure this stuff out? Or are we gonna have to do, or are we gonna have to,
So we might have to hold off on third and final
yeah,
until we do the business license bylaw, which we're hoping to get done in June,
yeah,
before we break.
so just putting that, just. putting
Yeah,
that
thanks,
in.
Carolyn. Okay, so next up, we are going to review again the animal control bylaw, which I feel like we've discussed a number of times. So hopefully we are getting close. The previously discussed changes have been implemented into the document, from what I understand. And so just hoping to have any discussion around any further changes that need to be made. There's some notes on the side there, Danina, about a lot of the notes that you flagged last time, and thank you for bringing those forward. I think we're getting really close. I think it looks really good.
Those look good.
Anywhere in the animal control bylaw, right?
Animal control bylaw, yeah.
Anywhere in there, do we have the right to like seize an animal that is being elected?
Yes.
I didn't find that.
That falls under the Territorial Act, and that would come from the chief territorial vet.
So they would come here and do that?
But should we have that in our bylaw as well?
Well, it kind of is in there already under animal abuse.
Yep.
So
Well, I saw that, but I didn't see the,
broken down in the definitions of what is considered animal
There's
abuse.
cruelty.
yeah, there was a certain amount of
Cruelty to
rope and how much room you needed, and there was other things, I read that part, but I didn't find anything that said like if you were being like barbaric to your pet, that somebody could come in
Physically
and just like
hurting.
take it and be like, you don't deserve this, and like.
Yep. And that's where the territorial vet has all the power. Like the territorial animal control officer has all that power, and our bylaw staff are working hand in hand with them on that.
But shouldn't we also have that in our bylaws, so that's,
Well, their law trumps ours.
oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can authorize, can they not, our bylaw officer to.
Yes, they may. Yeah. Yeah.
To
So, and that's
prepare.
and that's something that we'll look at once they get their full act and regulations enacted, that we'll maybe get so that our public safety, our protective safety staff is deputized under the territory for in our municipal boundaries.
Are we planning on getting this one looked over by legal?
I believe we should, yes, once council's smoothened it out, because it's one of those things that's got lots of implications. I did speak to our lawyer about looking at it, so, but until council had fine-tuned what they wanted, there was no sense sending it to them.
So what's the timeline on that? So like if we wanted to do.
That's a very good question. If your worship remembers the general maintenance bylaw, I guess
So like,
it depends on how much I push them. So I guess we could have it ready to come back to council, like at the first meeting in the fall.
okay, so it's doubtful that we're gonna be able to do third and final before summer break.
I honestly don't think so. I've got them working on a bunch of other stuff right now. So I think it would be really optimistic if we thought we were going to get this through before July.
And do we need to, so we send it to legal before we do third and final, correct? And then it comes back and then we would clear it once it's cleared by legal.
Yes, otherwise, if it goes to legal and they come back and say, nope, that can't be there, you need to change this wording, then we got to go through 3 more readings of the same stuff.
We love this bylaw. We know it, have it memorized. Okay, so thank you for that. So in that case, does anybody else wanna comment on these, Danina? They love your comments for. Good to hear. Okay, yeah, thank you so much, and then for changing the wording and amalgamating things and doing all the work from our many notes. So where do we go from here then, CAO? Does this go to on next meeting, or I can't even remember what reading we're on?
I think we've done first reading.
Yeah.
So I would say it would come back, if you're okay with it, it'd come back for second reading, and then we would send it off to legal.
Okay,
I have not gone a second, I'm gonna look really quick.
I kind of thought we did second as well.
I'm pretty sure, but I'll tell you in 2 seconds.
So we have to have a town hall thing or a public forum as well?
It was already talked
We did
about
that? sorry.
That was first reading,
You
yeah.
presented it.
I presented that, sorry. Again.
You presented
We
it.
do so, I know, but we do so many of these.
Okay, so we completed second reading already, Cam.
Okay, so then if you guys are fine with where it states today, when I'm back in the office, I will send it off to legal next week.
I'm comfortable with that. Everyone here is in agreement? Do you need a motion?
No,
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. All right. I only have 10% left in my battery, so gotta move along. So next up on the agenda is a conditional use application that we received for 211 Studenberg Boulevard, which is in Bellevue, which was an application to allow for a bed and breakfast in a country residential zone. We had a public hearing on in April, which I think was April 15th actually, regarding this application, and we were in receipt of one submission, I believe, which was in favor of the application. So discussion.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. You're good about it?
What you guys say? I didn't even hear.
They're just saying that they support it. Did you have a comment?
Wasn't here last time. But,
Oh, okay.
I know we got a letter because we live close to Milton.
What should you do?
Sorry?
I'm just wondering.
so technically that would be a conflict, your worship.
Yeah,
That's probably right.
Okay, yeah. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Anyway, okay, so my thought on it, I support it. My only, issue was, just kind of in agreement with the letter that we got that was for it, but there was a note saying, you know, it would be nice if there was a way to, I think Cam, you said that that conditional use is stuck with the property in perpetuity.
Yes, your worship, but the
regardless of
new,
who the owner is, like, so I
Yeah.
guess that's my only concern. I
Okay.
wish there was a way to have it so like, yeah, we approve it for this applicant. But
So-
let's say they sell or whatever, and then somebody different comes along, it would be nice to,
your worship, I can explain that issue. So yes, it is tagged to that property. But the control on the operation, or if council isn't in agreement, if that property sells and the next person wants to have a bed and breakfast and we believe they're not physically capable or running it to compliance, then that's a business license matter, and we could not give the issue a business license.
oh,
Because
okay,
that's where we have the control, is through the business license, and that is the same type of process. They would have to go through the same hoops.
So you don't need a business license to charge your in-laws?
That's
But
not
you
my
do
problem,
need a
your
business
worship.
license? Just asking a question. You don't need a business license to charge your in-laws, but you do to strangers?
If you're charging your relatives, I guess if that would be an internal family squabble, but if you're renting to the general
Yeah.
public,
different.
yeah.
I'm still in favor of it.
Anyway, thank you for clarifying that, that was my only concern, otherwise I support it. So,
Need a motion, your worship.
I'll make a motion to accept the conditional use application to allow a bed and breakfast at 211 Studenberg Boulevard in Mott's Lake.
thank you. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, that'll pass, and I'll vote, I swear. Okay, perfect. So we will now, oh, excuse me, I'm ahead of myself here. So thanks everyone for the discussion. The final item on our agenda tonight is a quick discussion around the summer meeting schedule for council. So historically, council has taken a break over the summer as things tend to slow down, not only in our office, but with Yukon government as well. So, you know, people go on holidays and all kinds of things. So what I am proposing is that we have our regular 2 meetings in June. So committee of the whole and regular meeting, and then no meetings in July because our first meeting falls on Canada Day anyway. And then we break until August 19th. So so the only thing that we would have in between there is our strat planning session on June 28th and 29th. And that would also give Jordan the opportunity to create our strategic plan, and then in the fall, we can hit the ground running with our new plan and jump right into budget season. So we're such a
And if something does come up, we can call a special meeting.
100%.
There's that.
Yeah, and I discussed it with CAO, and he thinks that they can continue to operate.
But don't they need our, okay, to like pass like rate checks and? all
Kat, do you
that?
wanna comment there?
Yeah, no, I do not need that under the procurement and the spending authorities. The only thing I have to come back to you is anything that's over $50,000 or that isn't approved through council. So if it's a tender that's already been approved, I can spend the money. It's just new tenders, and anything of that nature would come back. I have full authority to write all the checks and process them and pay bills. If you're not sitting anyways, all you guys are is doing a review of them after the fact. So if we need to be, we would call a special meeting.
And I guess the expectation would be that you would still monitor your emails from time to time. Yeah, but so that's what I'm proposing.
I'm in agreement.
So no meeting in July, but then we would meet in August.
August 19th. So other than our strat plan, it would be basically 8 weeks without. So I need a motion. We need a
I make a
resolution.
motion to approve said summer meeting of 2 meetings in June and no meetings in July and 1 on August 18th.
19th,
19th.
which is the Tuesday after discovery, it's just for landmark, in the brain. Second? Okay, all in favor of that? That will pass, thank you so much. And then, yeah, so we'll have our new strategic plan at that time, and we can really just start hammering it out. So now we will open the floor for councilor open forum, so who would like to start us off? Councilor Slager?
How did May 2nd go? The meeting of the night.
Oh, yes. It went, I think, well, so for those who don't know, we had a casual coffee date with We Are First Nation Chief and Council at the Nugget. It was good, they had their full council there, we had our full council there, minus Thomas, unfortunately, due to a scheduling conflict, but it was, I think, productive. It was casual, it was like a first contact.
Okay.
We agreed to have our admins work together towards
Common goals.
but starting small, so things like animal control and the emergency preparedness that of course we're working on, and hopefully maybe some recreation. So starting small,
Big steps.
yeah, so it was only about an hour, like it was quick. It was the middle of the day on a weekday, so not, I couldn't stay long. But it was good, and I think it was really positive that, we were actually able to make that happen, and shout out to Billy for his help in organizing that, so.
For sure.
Excellent to hear.
Yeah, so hopefully there'll be another one. The goal and the dream was to have another one scheduled before we left the room, but we didn't quite get there, but we will hopefully be able to do it again soon. Mhm.
Your worship, the comment from Chief Charlie was though he'd like to aim for quarterly meetings, right?
Yes, you're right. Thanks for mentioning that. Okay, did you have anything else?
That's it for me.
I just wondered, does the Northern Light Center have a PA system that would be able to be used in the main area, like where people come in, congregate?
A PA system?
Yeah, like.
No, I'm not sure the need in the main system, in the main part of the building.
So, the reason I ask that is just because if there are people coming in and they are being chatted up by the staff of the tourism, then potentially if the Northern Light Center staff aren't sort of letting people know that there's show happening, people may be missing that because they're being shouted at by people at the tourism. So I just wondered if there was a
Yeah.
way that they
Well,
could
I'm
announce
sure,
that the show is starting in 5 minutes.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure our staff can come up with a way to do that. I will bring it forward to Shannon's attention.
You remember the old visitor center had that countdown clock on the wall that said like the next show starting and it would count down? Am I imagining?
I never seen it.
Yeah, so. Thank you. Did you have any, yeah, maybe we can borrow it. Do you have anything else?
Nothing I can think of this time.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I have a couple things. So I mentioned this at the last meeting, but I'll give a little follow-up for now. Mayor and council, so myself and council as well as CAO Lockwood, traveled to beautiful Hayes Junction last weekend, or the weekend before last, I guess now, time flies, to attend the 50th anniversary conference and AGM of the Association of Yukon Communities. Unfortunately, Councillor Wimp was not able to join us, so it was actually just the four of us from council and Cam. But I think the weekend was really successful. It was really valuable for us to you know, have a FaceTime with our fellow councillors and administrators from across the territory, as well as government officials. So it was really good. At the AGM portion, there were 9 resolutions that were brought forward from the membership. All were passed unanimously, and 3 actually were sponsored by the town of Watson Lake. I did share them at a past meeting, so I'm not going to do it now, but if there's anybody that's interested in any of those resolutions, I'm happy to share them anytime. But so it was really great to see those resolutions that we sponsored move forward with the support of the association. CAO Lockwood also mentioned this earlier, but the Wildland Fire Barbecue on the weekend was really great. I was able to attend that. The wind was horrendous, but it was really cool to see so many people. It looked like it was a really good turnout, and I think it was really informative for a lot of people. So big thanks to everybody who helped organize that from Wildland Fire and also our own staff. Again, as Cam mentioned, myself and Deputy Mayor Slager, I keep trying to call him Thomas, are taking part in the ICS 200 course, and also Tiffany are taking part in the ICS 200 course this week over at the fire hall, so that we can be prepared for any emergencies that should arise, heaven forbid. And then lastly, we all know there was a federal election recently. I've asked Edmund for some help, but we're drafting a letter to MP Hanley, congratulating him on his win, and just mentioning that we are looking forward to our continued partnership with him, and asking him to please watch out for our infrastructure applications that are currently hung up in Ottawa throughout the entire time that Parliament was shut down. You know, we've kind of been waiting, you know, patiently. So asking him to please watch for those and do whatever he can to move those along. So that's kind of where we're at on those things. And yeah, that's it for me. What next? So if there's something else for council or open forum, I will open it up to the gallery for comment for gallery open forum. So let's start with in the room here. We've got a couple people with us. Patrick, anything?
Nothing for me tonight.
Patrick's also, our intern here at the town of Watson Lake is also joining us in ICS 200 this week as well, so
Yeah, thank
we'll be ready to roll. Ruth, anything?
I'm about these properties that don't look good, right? And I've brought this up many, many times. And how is it determined what the bylaw deals with and what she doesn't? Because there's a couple that are just really, really bad. And I don't ever see a town truck over there or anything or doing anything like that.
So, oh, sorry.
That's one question.
I was just gonna say, I don't know, you know, what the process is for that, but I mean, I think definitely just maybe mentioning that to Cam. And just, and whatever those properties are, so he can follow up with bylaw.
Okay.
I think would be a good step.
The other thing is, went out to the recycling thing and there are, like the yard is pile full of recycling stuff. So I mentioned this to Chad, and he says he's so frustrated because the person the company that's supposed to be running it. Or picking stuff up, they come up with a lot of excuses. One was they didn't have somebody to help load. So.
Yeah, so you're-
Anyway, there's tons and tons of stuff out there.
I was just gonna ask Cam for comment on the recycling situation to see if he.
Yeah, that's an item, that's actually a Yukon government contract. Yukon government is in the process of trying to locate a new service provider to remove all the recycling from the landfills in the territory and take them to Whitehorse. Yeah, that's totally out of our control. As we've been doing is phoning YG and lobbying, but it's tied up in their legal department on a contract breach matter.
Sorry, Ruth, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have anything else to add to that?
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that department is one of the best of the crews. I mean, when you drive in and they can greet you, that's pretty awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah, really is good. I guess that's the main thing right now, so looking forward to spring
Yeah, me too.
and green and it's beautiful.
Oh, I have something that I'll add at the end. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, Janice, did you want to add anything?
I do, I just noticed somebody flagged up that's on Zoom chat, please.
Okay.
I have a little bit of a question about that, because the chat has been disabled for over a year now. And why is it disabled? Like in a public forum, like when we have these public meetings, why can't the chat be enabled so that people on Zoom can talk in? And at a committee of the whole meeting, the chat should be enabled so that people can put their comments down or their questions. I understand for a regular meeting because the public isn't supposed to talk, but during those two times, I'm just not sure why it's disabled all the time. I know once it was enabled, and that's because the former mayor was on Zoom and he unmuted his mic and said, can we have a chat on, please? So I just wonder
Okay.
why it's always disabled. What's the reasoning for that?
Yeah, I mean.
I can
Sorry,
answer.
Kat. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Usually they might have to remind me to turn it on during gallery open forum, but that is the only time in the meeting that the chat would, or communication during a council meeting from outside would be allowed. And in the past, when we've left it on for the whole meeting, we've had members of the gallery commenting on everything as council's dealing with it, and it becomes a real distraction because it's not when items are being dealt with, it's not the time, and the gallery isn't allowed to comment other than gallery open forum. And if it isn't turned on when we get back into when it's in gallery open forum, then I must apologize. We will try and keep a better eye on that. It just sometimes I get sidetracked when I'm sitting in that chair because I'm answering questions and forget to turn it on. But the time period for it to be on would only be during gallery open forum.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and of course the public hearing, but I just noticed it hasn't been on at all, and I'm not one for speaking on Zoom,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna tell you it's not
Well, a gentle
on.
reminder then, please.
Yeah, I'm not. You'll have to remind
Yeah,
CAO.
yeah.
Anyways, that was my only thing, it's nice to be able to say no comment or whatever, you're sitting there looking at me and I'm not answering you.
Okay, well, thanks for that. So we will switch over to
So Colleen did raise her hand, she has something she'd like to put into chat. The
Sure.
chat has been open.
Okay. Encourage. Okay, so she's saying it was great to hear the town Watson Lake and Elephant had coffee. Watson Lake is on the unceded Casco territory, and this would encourage a good working relationship Are there any areas within the Lucky Lake Cemetery that has been identified for Casca use? Let's start there.
I can't, there was a area that was designated for different, all kinds of different uses. There's different areas in that new cemetery plan. And we'd be more than willing to show it, to share it, as council has approved that cemetery plan, the new layout. So we can provide that.
Okay, so just moving on in the same comment, would the town of Watson Lake make consideration for Liard First Nation members to receive a grant to cover the cost of the plot, interment, and overtime? INAC does provide $1,530 toward the cost of the funeral, usually the casket. And this is Colleen, I was the coordinator that paid the overtime on the recent funeral. The funeral was at 2 p.m. and the interment after the service. 2 hours at $150 an hour were charged. How is this fair? That I was the only person charged this when it's not even a bylaw. I would like a refund of the $300.
She wasn't the only person that's been charged that.
Okay, thank you for that comment, and sorry, can you scroll a little bit further down, sorry. And, oh, she's just saying I don't have my camera or mic, so I need chat, okay. So thank you, Colleen, for that, I guess any further, discussion on that, yeah, you can, hopefully have a chance to catch up with admin to chat about that. Let's go to Angela, please.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm just also wondering about the cemetery as well. I know I haven't been on the last couple of meetings, but I'm just curious to know how many plots we now have available.
Yeah, I'll get Cam to comment on that. I think that the work is still underway, but Cam, if you would please fill us in on that.
And I'll probably have to reach out to my boss, Tiffany, to confirm, but I think we're sitting with maybe 12 plots right now that are available, and the other 100 will be coming online shortly.
Okay, so we didn't have to expropriate any of the lots that were already paid for then, hey?
No, we didn't take plots away from anybody that are paid for, that's for sure.
Okay, perfect, awesome, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the Zoom chat or Zoom gallery that would like to add anything for Gallery Open Forum? Courtney?
Yeah, I think Courtney had something, Your Worship.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you.
Nice
Great.
to see you.
How are you all?
Good.
Good. So the Secretariat of the Table of Ministers responsible for local government has reached out to try to get a sense of priorities for municipal governments that we should be taking to their table. And so we're canvassing our municipalities to just confirm and understand what your top 3 priorities are. So I had a previous conversation with Cam, CAO, and the priority that he mentioned was infrastructure funding. And I would like to pose that to council. If there are any additional priorities that you would like me to bring back to this conversation, and any other topics that might benefit from a working group. So this could be anything like tariffs and the impacts on local government, procurement, climate change resilience, anything that might benefit from a larger national conversation to support municipal governance.
Okay, thank you. I agree, right off the bat with the infrastructure, like that's a huge one for us. We're literally waiting. I feel like we're just always waiting to hear whether or not we're gonna get approved for something or not. Whether or not something's been made available for municipalities. So 100%, I think everyone probably agrees with that. I also think we need to be talking about the long-term financial sustainability of the municipality. So like maybe thinking about, I know AYC and FCM have been pushing for this a lot, but like the way that municipalities are funded. That's a big conversation that I know we're probably inside with. And then I think emergency preparedness and readiness and things like that. So let's just open up to council here to see if I'm on the right track here, if they're in agreement, or if you have anything you want to add, or think we should be prioritizing.
Water, sewer and roads.
Yeah.
There a lot of them, some dilapidated, some still have asbestos. some have potholes that have like grown other baby potholes, and those potholes are still thinking about having kids. Like it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think another thing that that we are always advocating for, and I know I've heard from the other territories as well, is the gas tax. In a perfect world, we would love to see that doubled or tripled. I know we just like had a new agreement, but there was really no change to the amount. And so you know, it would be nice to have that increased substantially. So anything else to add, Cam? You think we're on the right track there?
My top five were infrastructure, and infrastructure.
Yeah, agreed. So another thing, you know, that I always think about, I don't know, like it's important, but I think like community safety and policing and things like that, but if we have to pick a top three, I'm not saying it's not important, I just think that we have all these other things that if we, like it's definitely probably my top five. But if we really have to narrow it down to three, I think infrastructure, financial sustainability, and then emergency preparedness. Any other comment from council?
Drugs are always a big one. Community safety.
Okay, so were you looking for any more detail than that, or is that like?
No, that's perfect.
It's pretty like, you know, high level or whatever, but.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's all I need. Thank you very much for your feedback.
Okay, no problem. And I have a question. Oh, actually, no, I don't mind. Sorry. It's just something I think already accounted for.
Oh, so the other thing Courtney had though was minister's visit, your
Yes.
worship, and we've struggled on a date. Every date that we
Yes.
put forward hasn't worked. So unfortunately, I think I guess it would come down to maybe June 6th. I just spitballing here, but I'm thinking June. I think you're away, your worship, the 17th and 18th, right?
Yes.
So I would say the 16th would be the only day that would be open, because after that the minister's away, and then we're into summer break.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good for the 16th if that works for the minister. Anybody else? June. And just for the record, he will be coming here,
Correct.
or is in person? Okay.
And that would be at 6 p.m. if he could, Courtney.
You bet. I'm going to throw that in right now.
Because unfortunately, the rest of the week is fully booked up, and the week before is no good as well.
Okay. Great. Thank you for providing that. So we're starting to book those meetings now. So I will let you know as soon as I can whether that 6 p.m. on the 16th is an option.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the chat the Zoom gallery that would like to add anything for Gallery Open Forum?
Well, our hands raised.
And who's that at the bottom? Shannon?
I think that's Visitor Information Center.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, so seeing none, we will close the Gallery Open Forum. And we are, I just wanted to add one last thing before everybody leaves, and that's just back to AYC AGM. Watson Lake will be hosting next year, so we're already looking forward to that. I've just been excited since the membership voted on that. So we will be hosting next year. I believe it is April 30th, May 1st, May 2nd, that weekend. So look forward to hosting everybody in town and showing off everything. So excited to share that. And on that note, I will ask for a motion to go in camera, and then I'll have to ask everybody in the gallery to please excuse us.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
I'll make a motion to go on camera.
Thank you, Janina. I'll second the motion to go down. Thank you, Norma. All in favor? Okay, thank you.
And
Is this gonna be a long and kind of thing?
no,
Yes, please.
Thank
um,
you, good night.
Would you guys like me to leave?
I don't
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
Pam, so give Tiffany stays?
what's that?
Okay, if Tiffany stays?
Yeah, that by all means, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Tiff.
yeah. No, that's okay, everyone, so.
Yeah, so,
Let me stop recording one sec. Pause
Yeah.
recording. Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to come out of camera?
Make the motion to come out of camera.
Second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor? Yeah. Okay, and that brings us to the end of our meeting. I'll just ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night. See you on May 20th.